Greetings, Saberites. Anonymous here. As you can imagine, it's been a bit chaotic behind the scenes here at TPLA, so I wanted to do a quick video, bring you up to date on everything that's kind of going on. Because of the current coronavirus pandemic going on, we have canceled all classes at TPLA HQ here in Ann Arbor. We will begin classes as we reevaluate as the situation develops. I think that it's pretty common out there. There's probably a lot of places that are not meeting, and some classes that maybe still are. The reason I have decided to cancel classes for my people is that I just feel that I cannot keep up with a good hygienic environment appropriate to this particular crisis that we're going through, with sharing gear and sharing equipment, even the sabers. I just don't think that I can keep up with that myself. I don't want to put people at risk, and I certainly do not want to spread this particular virus around. I am somebody who is in a high-risk group for this virus. It's very dangerous for me to get any upper respiratory infection, so this is a particular worry to me. Anyway, going on from there, like I said, I've decided to cancel classes. I do sort of urge other people who are into the fighting and the sport of saber. Also, I would urge people to look into canceling classes until we know more about this particular virus. Again, the reasons that concern me are we have a lot of people who will be using loaner sabers. We want to make sure that these are wiped down and sanitary for all of our people. But then some people are using gear, and a lot of people are using loaner gear. Now, you should be disinfecting your gear after every use, no matter what. However, this particular virus may not be responding to any type of protocol, meaning we don't know exactly if the cleaners that we use now can kill it. We don't know how long precisely that it stays on surfaces. It can be anywhere from 3 hours to 4 days or 3 days, something like that. It's a large enough unknown that it's kind of dangerous. Now, one thing, if you are continuing to use to hold classes and to meet, that I think people should really be aware of is wiping down and trying to sanitize and keep everything as clean as possible, including your loaner sabers. Now, there are probably other products out there that people are using. I tend to use Clorox, bleach type of products. Anything that says it kills 99% of stuff is usually strong enough, according to the CDC, to get rid of most stuff. Remember, nothing on the market right now has been proven to do anything against this new virus. We just simply don't know enough right now. So we're using best practices to kind of cover our whole bases. As I said, if you are still holding classes, which technically, yes, I would advise against, taking a Clorox wipe like this, right, and making sure that you wipe down the entire surface, anything that's going to be touched by them. And this includes the blade, because as people are standing there, they're doing all that kind of stuff. Now, one thing to kind of understand, and when you do this after classes or before classes and stuff like that, it is always beneficial to let this air dry. Just let the fluid sit on there and just evaporate in good time. that's the best way to do it with these types of wipes, or anything with bleach or alcohol or something like that. The longer the substance stays on that surface, the more it's going to get. As I said, we don't know if this is even going to do anything to coronavirus or to COVID-19, which is the particular strain that we're dealing with, but that's one thing. Now, let's talk about gear. This virus is not transmitted through sweat, so we don't really have to worry about that. Again, you should be disinfecting your gear, if it's loaner gear, every single time, no matter if there's a pandemic on or not, because that's going to breed bacteria. Now, with this virus, we're not concerned with the bacteria aspect of it. The virus is not transmitted through sweat, so we don't have to necessarily worry about that. However, masks and helmets and gloves are extreme concerns. There's nothing much you can do to sanitize gloves other than throw them into the wash, hot wash. I'm not exactly sure what that will do to a lacrosse glove or to the gloves that most people are using, especially for people who are painting their own or using other things to kind of make them look different than they do out of the box, so to speak. But there's that. So this is one of the reasons why I've decided not to hold classes, because I cannot sanitize the gloves. As far as the helmets go, if you use helmets and you use overlays, remember to sanitize everything in here. All these flaps that hang down, because all of this stuff will touch the face, will touch the hair, and of course people will be adjusting it and holding it and all that kind of thing. So there. Now, even if you're not doing this, if you want to clean your own mask, hopefully you have one of these masks that has the removable bib or the removable insert there, like that. Now what I do is I basically take that out and just throw it in the wash a couple of times. If you do not have a mask that does that and you just have a mask like this, take your wipe, make sure it's nice and wet. Again, soak it down, make sure that the surface is all good. Get all of the surfaces that are going to come into contact with the face, with the head, with anything like that. You know, it wouldn't hurt to do the outside here too, because you've got particulates that are coming off of their breath and all that kind of thing. So doing this before putting your gear away, even if you are canceling classes, make sure that you clean up your gear before you put it away. Not just because when you open that closet again, it's going to give you a surprise there, but just for the sanitary and for all of this kind of thing. Again, okay, so like I said, if you are using loaner gear, I highly urge you to not use the mask. Hold off on the sparring, hold off on the competition until this whole thing passes off. There's so many risks with having people trade the helmets right now during this during this pandemic. So that's my particular opinion on that one. Okay, so there we have it. We are canceling classes here. I urge other people that are doing the sport, that are especially doing a lot of sparring, anybody that has loaner gear, people who are running schools and everything like that, if you can at all, try to put classes on hold. If you can't do that because of financial reasons, because you're going to lose your space whatsoever, try to maybe work on solo drills and things that people are not going to have so much contact with each other in. And always remember, the number one thing to do to prevent contagion in any of these things is hand washing. Hand sanitizers are good and keep some on hand, but we always have to remember these are not a substitute for hand washing. They're there for us to use in the interim. When you do use these, just like with hand washing, make sure that you get the entire hand, get in between your fingers. Try to do that, and then use enough that it will stay on there, and don't wipe it off. Just let it evaporate on its own, and we'll get there. But remember, the hand sanitizer is there to get you between hand washings if you don't have a sink and some soap and water. And also, if you wash your hands too much, they'll tend to dry out with soap, and then you're gonna get cracks in your fingers and increase your risk. So we don't want to do that. Anyway, so it's just pretty much common sense. Play it safe out there. Avoid these things. Try to avoid large crowds. Try to avoid lots of groups of people. Definitely don't share gear. Again, I don't want to alarm anybody. It is not transferred through sweat. So going to the gym or going to classes and stuff like that, not a problem. It's just if you're going to be coming into contact with that kind of stuff. So if there's contact in the class with other students or anything like that, try to avoid that kind of stuff. If you're running classes, do stuff that's not going to require people to be that close to each other. Anyway, that's our preliminary comments on this whole coronavirus thing. What we're doing over here, we will be coming out with some indoor and solo training exercises for all those people who are cooped up in self-imposed quarantine, or fingers crossed, not actual imposed quarantine. But if you're stuck at home and you don't know what to do and you can't get to class, we've got some stuff coming up here for you, and we'll also try to keep you abreast on certain things that interest us as far as what we find out about the virus. Anyway, I think I'll leave you there. Patience, practice perseverance, stay healthy, stay smart, wash those hands, don't touch the face, take it easy on everybody else. Remember, the masks are for you, meaning when you cough, you're not going to spread it around. The masks don't do a whole lot of stuff if you're not sick. So unless you're around people who are sick, like you're a health worker or something like that, let's keep the masks for the health workers. Anyway, that's a little thing there. We'll talk to you soon. Again, stay safe, stay healthy. Good luck out there. Happy safe.